today's cookie baking. Used up the last of my flour, but by accident I used all the flour in the mix. So I had this gooey mix and I had nothing to either flour because I don't have baking paper, but I had nothing to flour the foil with because I was baking them on foil, and I had nothing to stop them sticking. Even when I'd made the dough, it was too sticky. I literally just poured in water. So what I did was I shook porridge oats all over the foil before putting in the oven, so they wouldn't stick, and so they've got extra oats stuck to the bottom, and it's fine actually. They taste good. So that's one from yesterday. I cooked this for a bit too long. That's not actually burnt, that's just the flour really that's burnt there. It's actually quite nice. It's actually almost like a ginger snap. If you dip them in tea, it comes out lovely if you just bake a piece off and dip it in tea. But what I found is that as they stand and dry, cool I should say, they start to get harder. So these ones I checked them after about 15 minutes, and you could push your finger into it very easily. It was like it was just puffy. So after 20 minutes I checked them again, and they were still quite sort of sloppy, quite bendy. You wouldn't even be able to pick them up like that. But I took them out anyway. And now as they're starting to cool, they are a bit soft on the bottom. But they're more like almost like a flapjack. The ones that were at the back of the oven. Just on the edge there, that's starting to get quite hard. It's a bit soft in the middle there. They're just right. So you want to get them out just when they look as if they're not quite... You want them to be a bit softer than you intend them to end up. Quite a bit softer actually. They will harden up quite a bit. So this recipe, this is yesterday's recipe. Can't quite remember. I think it was basically just flour, sugar, oats, and sodium bicarb plus vitamin C plus some milk plus water. But I didn't use milk in these ones today because I've got not enough milk left. So I just used water, hot water actually from the kettle. So this recipe was equal amounts, pretty much equal amounts I think, of flour and oats, and then I think, it's a bit hard to tell because I just poured it in, but roughly equal amount of sugar. A fairly generous teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate. I actually use this one it's for cleaning really, but it's okay, it works. It's just a little bit grittier, it's a little bit more abrasive than the sodium bicarbonate that you would cook with, but I only have the cleaning one left. And an equal amount, I actually used slightly more, but it doesn't matter because it's perfectly edible. But an equal amount of vitamin C powder. In fact, normally you need slightly less vitamin C powder, and I think that's because the vitamin C powder is more dense, or it might just be heavier, I don't know. So, but anyway, it's about a teaspoon of vitamin C powder to a teaspoon of sodium bicarb. You mix that up dry. You don't add any water. You must mix it all up first. A good pinch of salt. And like I say, mix it all up so it's thoroughly mixed dry. Especially this vitamin C and the sodium bicarb. You don't want them getting wet before you've mixed them into the mixture. And then I poured in my water and mixed it up. I used 2 dessert spoons to mix it up. I mix it up on a very big oval plate that's in the washing up now. And I mix it up with 2 dessert spoons. That way I don't get my hands dirty, and I can clean the dough off one spoon with the other, so that I can, the dough doesn't just get stuck to the spoon. You just scrape it off one with the other as you're going, and then scrape it off the other. And that way you're getting it all mixed up. I found that's the best way to do it, 2 dessert spoons. And I also dolloped it out with 2 dessert spoons. And I just splodged it out really. Like I say, I shook a very generous coating of oats onto the foil and splodged it out. I didn't leave much space between them. They did almost touch. Well, they did touch, but that was okay. They will expand by about 50%, I suppose. I think you're probably supposed to leave them to stand for a couple of minutes. I always end up doing that anyway because I'm heating the oven. So basically I heated the oven. They stood for about maybe 5 minutes, not much more than that. They will continue to inflate even in the oven as they cook. But I'm not sure with soda bread how long you're supposed to leave it to inflate before you put it in the oven. But it seems to work the way I do it. Literally no more than 5 minutes of standing before it went bang into the oven. And then, as I say, these were cooked for, I would say, bang on 20 minutes. And the temperature I did them at was about 200 degrees centigrade. So it's 200 degrees centigrade for 20 minutes. That's in a gas oven. On a wire rack with nothing else, no other racks or trays in the oven, just the wire rack about near the top of the oven with foil on it, underlaying it. All four on the one tray. And they're very, very nice. Very nice. The other thing, after I got them out of the oven, I had the rack standing here and I picked it up with my bare hand without realizing it. And as you can see, there is absolutely no sign of a burn, whatever. So just as a bonus for you, what you do to not burn your finger is you still put it straight into, I still put it straight into the cold washing up water that was there, but you talk to your finger, you talk to your body, and you say, well, I apologized. I apologized for burning my finger, apologized to my finger. I said it was an accident. I said the danger is gone. The danger is gone. It is not going to come back. You don't have to fight the danger anymore. The danger is gone. I took it away. And I also thanked my finger for my hand for pulling away so quick. I said that was the right thing to do. It was right. It was right to panic. Thank you for serving me really well with this amazing body that will pull away from danger. But the danger is gone now, so you don't need to fight it anymore. And you'll be okay now, because there's no more danger, there's no more heat. And just continue with those thoughts, literally addressing your finger, whatever part of your body you've injured, thanking it for helping all your life and how amazing it is and how great it is that it can pull away from danger like that. But then reassuring it, telling it that the danger has gone, that there is no more danger, it doesn't need to fight anymore, it doesn't need to react, it doesn't need to respond, and you've learned your lesson, and you're going to be careful. You're not going to have that danger anymore. I turned off the oven. I said, I'm turning off the oven now. I'm not going to touch that tray again. That was really silly. And I learned, I know, and I won't do that. And I will look after you because you've looked after me. And I don't care what anyone thinks or says, but there is not the slightest injury on my fingers. And I'm talking about, I picked up something that had come out of a 200 degrees oven with my fingertips. I picked up a wire rack. Okay, only lifted it a little bit and then let go of it, obviously. Well, as I say, I didn't let go of it. My hand did on its own. Think about that. That's the power you have. In addition to the power of baking cookies. It's like being in the Oracle's house, isn't it, today, on my video? So, with that, that's how you make giant chocolate cookie. Look at the size of that giant chocolate cookie out of leftover stuff. Really quick. That's half an hour from start to finish. Half an hour to make those cookies, to bake these cookies. Just half an hour. None of this nonsense with the yeast. This is using soda. Forgot to add, I also had in here a little bit of Nesquik that was left over in the bottom of the box, and a little bit of another chocolate drink, because I'm just cleaning out the cupboards. And yeah, so I did actually shake in. Cool, now how much would it have been? It's probably amounted to 3 tablespoons actually of chocolate drink powder, which would have been a bit sugared as well. And the other thing I did just before I put them in the oven was I sprinkled a very light coating of sugar over the top, only because I've made these not sweet enough. Yes, this one was okay, but the ones before were not quite sweet enough, so I kind of always worry I've not got enough sugar in them now. So I sprinkled, but it was really a very light coating. You could hardly see it. You could see it falling on them, but you couldn't see it once it landed, kind of thing, because it was so sparse. But I just did that because I thought, well, maybe it would just sort of burn on the top and create a glaze. It might glaze. In fact, there are little sparkles on the top from it. So that creates nice little sparklies. You probably can't see them on my phone camera. But there are actually little sparkles of sugar on there, caused by shaking just a few loose crystals on afterwards. So that's a nice effect it creates. And if it burns it more than the sugar in the mixture, then it will caramelize it slightly and it will just give it a slightly more complex flavour. So I thought I would just experiment with that. This is all experimenting, really. I mean, look. This is so there you go, cookies. Chocolate cookies today.